ain't fought for you. I really was it. Shot medals in my vocabulary. Rolling with the punches, I'm roving and jumping. Dealing with the problems, I got to be coping. Making it fit, and I click just like a Lego. I'll be Casio, but you can be tackled from the FBI to the CIA. I'm clearing out the path and here to LA. I be from C-Town, kicking the roof down, ripping up the mic and way past sundown.
And good Monday evening, everybody, and welcome to Prospects of the Land. Ethan Greenberg here, along with Nate Boat, part of the Baseball Banter broadcast. Our man Taven, he's off to the Big Apple. I hope he doesn't, run into too many crazies out there. Maybe he's going to find that fan from the World Cup. I am excited.
Yeah. I think aren't the Norwegians there right now?
I don't know. They might be rowing up the steps on the escalator.
Maybe,
Have you seen those videos?
I was literally doom scrolling like during lunch today, and they were all over Times Square. So
nice. That is nice. I'm seeing all these videos, and I'm really questioning the authenticity of the reactions of alleged reactions of the people visiting the country and their amazement with the various foods and stores. I'm like, is this for real? Some of these people I think are putting on an act.
Some of them maybe. There are a couple that are over the top. But, I mean, let's think about it. Like in Europe, you don't tip. You don't get bottomless anything in Europe. And you don't tip in Europe because none of the servers just have an urgency to come to you at all. So that's why there's no free refill. That's why there's no free chips and salsa. That's why there's no big honking slab of rib that gets slapped down at your table. There's just no urgency. And the portions here in America, like, we are very, very gluttonous people. Okay, we just are.
You took words right out of my mouth, buddy.
And they get sat down. They pay $20 for this big full rack of Texas ribs. I mean, that's heaven. That is heaven right there.
I'll tell you what. No, it's funny to watch all that, but that's a whole other story. We'll have to wait to get the full report from Taven and his visit to the Big Apple. That's always interesting. I went there when I was 8 years old, so that was a good 40 years ago, and haven't been back since. So I'm sure it's changed just
I was just there, not this past spring, but the spring before, like winter into the spring. And I went at a really bad time because there were no Knicks, there were no Rangers, nothing was at home. I could not go to Madison Square Garden to watch. I know.
That's a bummer. I try to plan try to plan trips around events and sports and games and such. I'm like, oh, hey, if I go now, will there be anybody playing? Okay. Yeah, I've got ulterior motives. No, it'll definitely be interesting. And
you know what else I saw today? I sent this to you, and you needed some explanation on it. Baseball fans will know Munenori Kawasaki, the monkey never cramps. He released a hat, and I need the hat so bad. It's 8,000 yen, which I think is like $50 or so. But I also sent it to Taven, who just joined the chat. Taven, we need to band together and get Munenori Kawasaki hats.
So what is Munenori Kawasaki?
Just Google it on YouTube. Pull up "monkey never cramps." I mean, it is. He was a former Blue Jays player. He's from Japan, and it's one of the best clips of all time. So I
thought it was like anime or something.
No. Like,
okay,
he was a baseball player, and that's why I had sent it to you. I didn't know if you would get it or not. I thought you would have, but anybody else that's in the chat, back me up on that. People know what I'm talking about.
All right, so, fair enough.
I just need the hat. It's the best hat I've seen in a long time. Very long time.
It's pretty solid. I mean, even though I didn't know exactly what it was still a nice looking hat.
$50 hat.
It's a bit much. Don't you say? It's a bit much.
Well, I don't know how many people over there will have 8,000 yen to spend on it either. Because that's the technical listing price because of the company and where he's from. So
I gotcha, man. Well, yeah, it'll be all kinds of cool stuff. I hope
Well-
I hope next time we come on, you're wearing it.
I sure hope so. I gotta save up the money first. Maybe that might be an August thing, but that's just one of the hats of all time. I need it so bad. We do have a correction to make before we get started into things. We got to correct the people on when the first half ended because you and I were talking about this. Taven, I don't even know if you realize their boss, but technically the second half of the season has already started in minor league baseball, which I just did not know at all. I don't ever remember it being like this, and maybe this is just my memory serving me really, really bad. But what they did with this past series was they split it right in half. So the first half of the series counted towards the first half, of which congratulations to the other team in Ohio from the Midwest League, the Dayton Dragons. They will be moving on to do that. And Lake County, well, they still had some weather and things go on. So a lot of those games against Great Lakes ended up getting canceled. They were supposed to play 7, and then they only end up playing 5. Because just all the weather and stuff that happened. So they went 1-1 in those 2 games, actually scored a bunch of runs in those 2 games. And that's where we're going to start with Lake County. But I feel like this is a rant that we have to have, in that I just think minor league baseball should have been clearer with that, because that changes the conversation entirely. And obviously it probably wouldn't have mattered if they would have won the other game anyway, because then them and Dayton would have been tied with record and they would have had to go into all this stuff. And then you were too a little hot that, well, they got to play 2 extra games, even though they had the same amount of losses. So to me, I just tell you that's minor league baseball. I had no idea that the halves were split up like that. None, not a clue.
Oh, see, here's the thing. I guess when I think of half, I think of equal halves. But as it just went through my mind, technically, half can be a generous thing. I know by definition,
Well,
it's
and
half.
they did start with a 3-game series. Let's just put that out there.
Right. So does Webster's dictionary indicate is half meaning an equal portion?
You know what? Let's look at what Merriam-Webster says about that, actually.
Yeah, I'm really curious, because that's honestly, I know that's kind of silly, but I would think when you say half, I literally do think it means half of the games.
The simple definition, the very first definition, either of 2 equal parts that compose something. Also, a part approximately equal to one of these.
Okay, there's the approximate. So I guess we got the approximate end of the first half. No, but
if I'm sitting here correctly, I don't think they end with a 3-game series. Am I crazy? I don't think they end with a 3-game set. Although the All-Star break might be weird. They might have a 3-game set after the All-Star break.
That's a possibility. Well, it's a bummer that it's not as well laid out as possible.
Or we just missed it. But
I don't think we missed it. Honestly, Nate, I'm going to trust that we didn't miss it, because you and Taven are on
You're
Johnny's
right. We
spot.
should have that confidence.
You should. You didn't miss anything. There was nothing listed. It didn't say when the first half ended. I'm really not seeing any articles written that describe or indicate that. That's also part of the problem, and that's not really. I mean, I guess that's where we come in. We have to educate everybody. We dropped the ball, so let's figure it out.
We did. We failed on that, and critical oversight by us. But I am actually going to look and see if they have another weird 3-game set. Yep, they do. Okay, so that would make sense. The All-Star break, of course, that second full week of July 13th through the 16th, and then they do have a 3-game set coming out of that. So I guess in terms of halves, yeah, they would split it up pretty equally in that standpoint. However, then you could get into the conversation of, well, now teams are going to try to make up games they missed in the first half. Should those count towards the first half? Should they count towards the second half? What say you? I mean, that's.
I mean, I guess you can't do anything. It's kind of first of all, I guess this was news to me. This first half, second half thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was, I guess, where I was like, huh? We do what? Yeah, say what?
Yeah.
And yet here we are. And so that's okay. That's all right though. That's like you said, and we've discussed. It allows a team, and because of the minor leagues, the way the rosters change, where you have basically two opportunities to get yourselves into the playoffs, as opposed to, well, tough break, you are out of it by July 1st, and you ain't coming back. I mean, you got a team like, what are we talking about? The Fredericksburg, go just killing everybody, and also Richmond, just in their respective leagues in Double A and down in the Single A, where they're going crazy, the Carolina League, where you're going crazy. But anyway, I digress.
Well, we are going to start with the captains. And they technically did what they were supposed to do. They did win the series against Great Lakes, but because they only played 5 games, again, we sit here and talk about what could matter, what could not matter. Maybe it didn't matter because they only played 5 of a potential 7 games. Tuesday's game canceled to rain. So then they made it up with a doubleheader on Wednesday, but then the second game of the doubleheader was postponed due to inclement weather. So, okay, you push the doubleheader back to what it was supposed to be, the doubleheader on Thursday. Okay, that got played. You went 1-1 there. Then you play Friday, win 11-4. You get postponed on Saturday, and then you play the game on Friday. So you lose one of the doubleheader games on Thursday. You lose on Sunday, both games 5-4. But all in all, good series for the captains, even though that they do fall short. Let's circle back to Lake County because we will do our usual thing. Let's start at the top. Let's go to the bottom and tell you how each team ended off the first half. Columbus, their record at the end of the first half stands at 41-33. Quite a good record. But again, AAA is not like any of the other leagues. It's a lot bigger. The International League is a lot bigger. And you don't take one team per division. You take one team throughout the entire league. That's just the way that the International League works. But they were able to split at home against Scranton. They did have Wednesday's game postponed. I actually had tickets to that game, was going to go to that game because it looked like the rain was going to hold off. And then the forecast just changed very last minute. Welcome to the great state of Ohio. But you did win Thursday. You split the doubleheader Friday. You won Saturday. And really just some close losses in here. 3-1 loss and an 8-6 loss, and then a 5-4 loss on Sunday. I believe there was even a walk-off there in that first game on Friday as well. I think Bo Naylor hit a walk-off home run or something of the like. So good job to Bo. But as far as what happened for the clip show this week, if my stats would load properly, here we go. Cooper Ingle. We got to have conversation because this guy went freakish on Thursday. 3 home runs, had a double in there as well. I mean, he was absurd this week. Hit the 3 homers for 5 RBIs, 5 of 14 at the plate, 357 average, had a 1.555 OPS, was sensational this week for Columbus. Talked about Bo Naylor hitting the walk-off. He had a pair of home runs this week. Dian Frias, Angel Yanao, Cody Huff, CJ Kafis, Joe Lampe. They all went yard this week. In fact, Joe Lampe, haven't really heard much about that guy. If Taven were here, we love Joe Lampe. Love Joe Lampe. So good to see him getting back out there and starting to play some really good ball. Again, the offense, besides the exception of Tuesday, was hitting around the baseball this week. When you take a look at the pitching standpoint of things, Austin Peterson, great double bump week for him, even though his record is 0-1, 3.6 ERA, 10 innings pitched, 18 strikeouts, only 5 walks. Believe he did have one really, really, really good start that was in there as well, starting to look like the guy that we saw in AA Akron last year. Yorman Gomez, despite the ERA in the start this week, did have 8 strikeouts, no walks. So good on him. Logan Allen had a pretty solid 5 1/3 innings out of the starting bill. Rorik Maltrud, Pedro Avila, some good starts for him. And then, again, Taven's favorite guy, sarcasm, obviously, but he's been pitching well. Jack Leftwich continues his scoreless streak. Will Dion looked good this week. Franco Alamon continues to pitch some phenomenal baseball. And, of course, now we have seen the likes of Daniel Espino at the major league level, and he's done pretty well so far. So first takeaways from this week. You ultimately earned the split, but a lot of exciting performances from guys that, who knows, with 3 guys on IL, who do we see up next?
Well, my first and foremost, like you said, we got to have a conversation about Cooper Ingle. I don't know where we.
Let's just do it right here, right now. I
don't know where you fit him in. How do we fit him in? And given what the Guardians have done, I've got no problem right now at the catching position. I've got no problem because Hedgie is a clubhouse guy. You're not moving him, right?
No.
We traded for Bailey. The Guardians did.
Puts us one of the best defensive catching duos in the entire league.
Right. He's a Gold Glover and all that stuff. So I don't have a problem there. But where can we play a guy like Ingle? Because we talked about it. We joked on in the chat between me, you, and Taven about the day that Cooper Ingle had, and I said, "Oh no, couldn't use one of those guys in Cleveland right now." I mean, that offense in Cleveland is pitiful, and I'd bring him up to play him at DH. I whatever it takes.
I would bring him up to solely DH.
Yeah, just get a bat in the lineup. This is so absurd what they're doing, and to have the injuries, that's just a really, really unlucky break and bounce of the ball, as it were. And now you're like, all right, does this give an opportunity for somebody else to come up, and so on and so forth? We had this discussion, as I believe, because when we came on last week, the injuries had just happened a day or so before. And now we obviously have a bigger picture of where these guys are, how long they're going to be out. And I'm watching the fact that we lose 2-1 last night.
Yeah.
We had another game in Milwaukee that we lost.
And obviously, game's still scoreless right now, by the way, between the Guardians and White Sox. However, Guardians bases loaded, top of the first. Gabby Arias at the dish. So,
oh, dear Lord.
So, yeah, I would say we would do a little bit of a watch along with it today. I don't know that any of us have planned and or have time for that here tonight. However, yeah, like you said, we got to get another bat into the lineup. And Cooper Ingle is that guy. Even if, look, as much as it's probably going to annoy Hedges, as much as it's going to annoy Patrick Bailey, maybe even try him out. Just see what the kid's made of.
Yeah, no, I don't see a problem in that. At this point, you've got to do something. We cannot. We won the other game, the game against Milwaukee, 4-2. And our fourth run was scored without getting a base hit. No base hits. What do we have? Like a hit batsman.
And the Guardians don't score.
And then, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Arias struck out.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
So did Kyle Manzardo with the bases loaded. That's awesome.
So we had one out, bases loaded, and these clowns can't get. This is pitiful. We've got to do that, you need to strike first. But I'm not going to belabor the point. I think it is what it is. We all know it. And right now, you're still in first place. This is a majorly important series right here, as Chicago is behind Cleveland by just one game. Minnesota's only 3.5 games out. Crazy enough.
Yeah.
Detroit 7.5. Nothing is out of the question for any team.
Saw that last year.
So I think that they've got to make some moves, and I just hope that they aren't too stubborn for it.
So let's now focus the conversation in on the Clippers. What did you like about the first half from this team this year? I really liked a lot of the pieces offensively. Obviously, Cooper Ingle's been hitting the ball well. We did see Travis Bazzana come up at the major league level. We know he's not coming back down there. I do like the fact that Bo Naylor is doing something at the AAA level, not nothing. I do like that he's doing something, but I also like what we've done, right? Ralphie Velasquez is up there. Didn't even mention him. He hit 400 this week. Angel Yanao is there. So here's what I like about Columbus, and this is an organizational thing now. The team and the organization are finally doing their due diligence and bringing the guys that deserve to be here. and they're here. And if something happens, then they're ready to go. Or at very least for next year. Maybe they move on from Gabby Arias. Bam, on Hell You Now. Welcome to the big league club. Kyle Manzardo, we're not really ready for you. Or Rhys Hoskins, congratulations. Thanks for filling in for us. Have a good run. Rafi Velasquez, welcome to the majors. Like, I'm so thrilled that these guys are here. And I think that's the biggest thing with Columbus right now.
Yeah, we're definitely getting to see some guys. And as an organization, as you mentioned, bringing guys up, trying them out. Look, we saw Juan Brito come up, and he started off and had a nice game at the dish, but ultimately after the first series, maybe only the first game, he looked lost at the plate, and his fielding was abysmal or below average, right?
Did not have a good week this week. Not at all.
And then you look at guys like, obviously Kafis was up at the beginning of the year. He goes back down.
Same thing. Struck out 11 times this week.
Yeah, it's not good, but I think we're getting to really see who is and isn't good. Fortunately, we were able to send Nolan Jones to the moon. He went back to the minors, and now he's gonzo, so that was good.
And then this is there's some too. You did have to DFA George Valera.
Yeah, but did I just see he cleared waivers?
He might have.
I believe I saw earlier he cleared waivers. Don't quote me on it, but it might. I'm pretty certain I saw that. And I think that there's going to be some other guys that we need to get a look at. Certainly at some point, I think that we've discussed this. We discussed this last week. Who might be the next people to make a move up, and we need to see some other guys at this juncture. If they are a good player, you find a place to play them. You get them in the lineup. At this point, beggars can't be choosers.
And I think that's the argument with Cooper Engel right now. Not to go back on that, but
you're right.
but very briefly.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and that's the key there. Certainly, we've had to say the pitching. Espino, very very nice, very nice.
Holy, Aleman's been great at the AAA level. They got to give him another look in Cleveland.
They sure do. I mean, we need help. We need pitching help. We are thin right now. Obviously, Sobrowski finally, he's on his way back. If he's not already back, my brain is a little bit foggy on all that. Has he come back yet, or is he just making his way through?
He got reinstated. They activated him. I believe he's back with the big league club. Especially if this game's close to that, I'd be shocked if we don't see him.
Right. So they got to have that. And then you saw other people struggle. Will Dion, he didn't do so well at the big league level. And okay, so send him on back down. And there's got to be some guys that might have a chance to come up. I mean, Logan Allen is down there and trying to work through stuff because obviously he has not been the best. Not been the best, and obviously ended up as the odd man out. And it makes sense. It really does. I think that if you look at the rotation, I wouldn't put him in front of any of the guys in our starting rotation right now between specifically Messick, Williams, and really Bobby has been good. He's had a few bad games, and his propensity to give up the home run ball is annoying. But ultimately, he's been pretty good and been a victim of his circumstances when he gets no run support. Slade Ciccone has had a couple of nice outings in a row. And Joey Cantillo, he muscles through. He grinds through his starts, and he's not bad. And Logan Allen, so what is it? In 12 starts, 2-2 record, 5.15 ERA. That's not good enough. That's not good, but I think really our bigger problem is the bullpen, is the bully right now.
Again, I think the good thing with Columbus is that the players of that caliber are here, right? We talk and joke all the time in this organization about the quadruple A all-star, the guys that just wreak havoc in AAA but can't do anything at the major league level. Well, we've solved that problem, right? Nolan Jones is gone. We've made some decisions with some other guys in the organization, and now you have your prospects that are here, that are ready to go, that are prepared for this level of baseball, or at least that's where they're getting them. So we'll get back to some of those conversations. Final thoughts from you.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's been a bit of a rough start for Khalil Watson.
He had the one diving catch that looked really, really good. And since then it's been rough. It's been rough.
And when are we getting rid of Fairchild?
I would rather see Kafis up than Fairchild.
All right. Yep, I agree.
Let's move on to the Duckies. The Duckies had a split with Altoona this week, and really weird week for Akron. You win Tuesday, you win Wednesday. You win Tuesday, you start a game Wednesday, you have to finish it on Thursday, and you end up winning the game 10-9, right? So you score 14 runs on Tuesday. You win 10-9 in that second game of the series. Things are looking up. Jonah Advincula's got a couple of homers. Jose Devers hits one. And then you score 4 runs in the next 3 contests, including the game that I was at on Saturday that went into 10 innings. And, I mean, just the worst base running mistake ever. First of all, they left 9 guys on base, so that's not going to get it done. But, Ethan, let's paint this picture, shall we?
Sure.
And then promise, we'll get into the good with Akron because there still was a lot of it in this first half. But okay, so let's paint the scenario. Bottom of the 10th inning, you're down 2 runs. There are 2 outs, runners on first and third. Okay? Seems like a pretty standard thing. Let's try to steal second. Let's get 2 guys in scoring position, and they do that. I can't remember who the runners were, but they do that. They get it done successfully. They steal second, and then as the throw comes down to second base, the guy from third just tries to go home. Realizes this is probably a bad idea, gets caught in his ways, and then gets picked off third, and that's how the game ends.
Oh my gosh.
So that happened to Akron this week, but you still get the series split over the Altoona curve. Again, Jonah Advincula, 2 homers and hit .429 this week. Only 2 games, 3 for 7. Not a bad week, though, when you select 2 homers. A homer for Jose Devers, and he was a monster this week. 1.274 OPS, played in all 6 games, 10-4-21. A guy that's really struggled hitting the baseball overall this year, just had himself a really, really good week. Did steal a base there as well. Jason Churio, again, we continue to see him perform at a solid level. Jacob Cozart was really good this week. So on and so forth. Wilfredo Antuña is another guy that hit over 300. Cameron Barstad, same thing. You move over to the pitching standpoint of things, and again, you did score runs, but you let up runs. Overall, it was really not a bad pitching week because in the games that they didn't score, they really didn't let that much up either. Jack Jasek, he went 3 2/3 scoreless, 8 strikeouts and 2 appearances out of the pen. Good stuff from him. Caden Favors in 2 starts, 13 strikeouts in 2 walks. That's 9 2/3 innings. Pretty good sub-3 ERA week for him. Josh Hartle was terrific in the 1 start that he got. I believe that was the game that I was at there. Rafe Schlesinger, not a bad start for him. And then Eric Sabrowski did get a very, very brief rehab appearance, faced
2 batters.
I believe,
it was 2 batters, and wait a second. I'm looking at the stats.
He was
one
more
game,
than 2 batters.
1 start, okay, I'm sorry. He went 2 1/3 innings, gave up 2 runs,
both unearned.
Unearned, right? Walked 1, struck out 2.
Yes.
So yeah.
Solid enough. The defense behind him let him down with those runs, but obviously they weren't earned. Shows you that he pitched pretty darn well there. So overall, let's get thoughts on Akron for the first half. They currently, by the way, sit at 35-33, and a really tough series coming up here this next week.
Well, I mean, the nice thing is, again, this is an overarching theme of seeing guys move through the system and have a lot of moving pieces, with guys getting promoted from Akron to Columbus and from Lake County to Akron and so on and so forth. Certainly there are some nice pieces there. And we talked about it. Richmond in the Eastern League, they just were on fire in the first half of the season. So that made it tough. And now you get to start fresh, and you try and make it a better second half of the season and see if you can't come away the second half champs or the winner of the second half and get yourself into the playoffs. It's kind of a beautiful thing. Hopefully they can sort of hone in on what they do best and who is going to be best. But who knows how many of those guys are going to get the call up to Columbus? I mean, it seems like we got some good pitchers
Right.
there that could potentially,
And
get
again,
called.
and again, the thing with this Akron team is they seriously have been the most confusing affiliate to try to figure out this year, and he's just, I'd say this team as a whole, you got to figure out what your strengths are, and you got to figure out where you can really make things do. Especially that Saturday lineup, it felt like manager Greg DeCenzo had just kind of thrown that thing together with strings and a little featured tube wire pipe cleaners. That's what I'm talking about. Like the little 8th grade craft stuff. Yeah. So find out what you're good at, lock down some of these positions. I think they got a good starting rotation. Let's get those guys consistent. Think they have a good bullpen. Let's keep some of those guys coming up there from Lake County there as well. So all in all, you take the good, you take the bad, you finish the half above 500, I do believe. Let's figure out, already off to a 1-2 start in the second half. So let's figure out how we can get that back up there. Okay, captains, we already told you what they did. The captains did win their series, but again, because they only played 5 games, really, even if they had played their full series and blah, 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 probably would not have mattered as much if they were going to win that first half. But regardless, let's look at what the captains did over the past series. Welvin Francisca. He's a guy we got to touch on because normally has been a pretty high-ranking prospect within the organization. Guys think a lot of him, and we were thinking, well, he hasn't been doing well, but he's a top prospect. We can try to ship him off in a trade package if we're ready to make that move. He showed you what he was capable of this week. 4 hits, 3 of them went over the fence and got 9 RBIs this week in a week where Lake County kind of went away. There was really not a whole lot of hitting to go around. However, Jace Laviolette continues to do really well. He did have himself a fairly nice week, hit 250 there this week. When you talk about the starting rotation, Braylon Doty, no walks, 7 strikeouts, but did get hit around a little bit. Michael Kennedy, no walks, 5 strikeouts, did get hit around a little bit. And then you got some great starts from Melquis Hernandez, Jervis Alfaro, and when Jackson Humphrey started the one game, more of a bullpen day. 2 innings pitched there for him just in that one. So again, you take the good, you take the bad. You can wipe the playoffs clean of things, and you just try to start over. Really, the team that you got to focus on and compete with is Great Lakes, where there was that 3-way tie coming into this week for first half. You don't have to worry about Dayton, even if they do finish the second half of the season ahead of you. They've already clinched the playoffs. They can't clinch it again. So being able to do that there for Lake County, just play some good ball, I think is going to be their big focus. But we've seen what this team can do. We've seen what this new lineup can do. And as guys have moved up and down, Lake County's the one it hasn't really seemed to matter. They haven't needed that adjustment period. They've just gone with it, and they've been able to figure it out. And guys get ingrained into this Lake County system. So I'm pretty confident in them going forth into the second half. Again, pitching has been the thing that's got to get consistent for them. Taven and I last year mentioned this on the pod before, talked about that magic number 5. Magic number might be a little bit different this year when the offense can produce like we've seen it do so. But your thoughts on Lake County throughout this first half? I think they got a real nice shot to get to the playoffs to be that second half champ.
It seems like, I mean, they were right there. Obviously, they're so close. And we talk about you finish a game back or percentage, whatever the case may be with the way the schedule worked out, but they are right there. So you should feel confident in that. You know, you mentioned some of the guys this week. I don't know if you mentioned Nolan Schubart had a pretty nice week.
Yes.
4 of 12, 3 runs, 3 hits, a double, 1 jack, 3 ribby. 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. I mean, hey, at least he's even on that. He's spreading the wealth. He has some kind of an eye at the plate. I don't know if it's good or bad. And Jeffrey Mercedes, did you mention him? He did pretty nicely. He goes 5. Let's see, he hits 300, so 3 for 10 at the plate, 4 runs, 2 doubles, RBI, 3 walks and a strike. So that's not too bad. But yeah, you're right. They're right there. And as you noted, the fact that Dayton now can't clinch a second time, that's helpful as well. And so we'll have a lot to look forward to with this club. And again, we'll be very curious to see what moves are made, who gets the call up, who and all that, those kind of moving pieces. Certainly, they are right there. It seems as if of the teams we've talked about, of the affiliates so far, they're the team that appears to be closest to being able to get themselves into the playoffs. I feel like Columbus might be the next closest. Akron seems they're going to have a difficult
Akron's
time.
Just so up and down,
right?
That's
And
the problem.
And Hill City had a rough go of it. We'll get to them in a moment. But yeah, I feel like there's a exciting second half of the season coming up for Lake County.
Well, Hill City did have a rough go of it this week. And look, single A baseball is so hard to judge because I feel like we were talking about the then Lynchburg Hellcats in a similar situation that we were talking about them at this year. First half didn't go so great. Then they rebounded and won the second half last year. Obviously, oh no, they didn't. They won the first half last year. So flip that. They did not have a great second half, but had a good first half. Now they did not have a good first half really at all. And compared to the expectation coming into the season, you have a lot of really good talent, some good pieces, and still some good performances this week. Luis de la Cruz a homer and hit 333. Anthony Martinez a homer, hit 278. Jonathan Martinez a homer, hit 231. Cannon Peebles, the catcher, hit 200, but did have a homer this week. Drew a ton of walks, got on base. Juniker Caceres had a down week for him, but we know he can bounce back. Yeferth Castillo had himself a very nice week. Dowry Fernandez, a nice week for him. So the performances are there. I don't know what got into this pitching staff this week. You give up double-digit runs in 4 of the 6 games and 8+ in all 5 losses. The only game you win was a pitcher's duel, 2-1. That was it. Now, I don't know if something weird happened that Saturday game because it was 10-11, but you lost pretty convincingly on Tuesday, 12-8. Lost very convincingly on both Thursday and Friday, and then Sunday, yeah, pretty much same story there. But, man, some of these starters, dude, they really got blown up. The only one that didn't, Nelson Keljo, 1 start. Or excuse me, look at the wrong number here. 4 innings pitched, only the 1 run on a solo homer, by the way. 7 strikeouts, 3 walks.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
The numbers are brutal.
Yeah,
the numbers are brutal. I've never seen this many people with.
What I will say, what I will say before you go, and I'll list off some of these ERAs. Yeah, they are quite jarring, to say the least. Miguel Flores did have himself a nice start before things got out of hand later in the game that he started.
Wow.
A couple starters this week. Ryan DeSanto has a 12 ERA, 4 earned runs over 3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 5 walks, only 2 strikeouts. Whoa, yikes. Where to go from here? Will McCausland, 844, 5 earned runs on 7 hits and a walk. And that's 5 1/3 innings. Still have 4 strikeouts. Okay, you take the good with the bad there. But man, Joey Oakey, he has not had a good go of it as of late. 1 2/3 innings. That's 5 outs of baseball, folks. Only 3 hits, but 7 earned runs. He walked 7 guys in that start. Jacob Zibin didn't even make it out of the first inning. A 67.5 ERA, allowed 5 runs on 5 hits, 1 walk, did hit a batter, I believe, as well. Gave up 2 homers. Man, pitching really just fell apart for the Howlers this week. You look at a ton of guys with double-digit ERAs out of the bullpen, too. Chase Mobley, Angel Perez, Ryan Prager. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the Italian's name. And then Keegan Zinn there as well. Luke Fernandez didn't even have a great week, and his ERA wasn't above 10, but it was 7.2
What are you talking about? Ettore Giulianelli?
Yeah. Wow. I believe you got that right, actually. I'm very impressed. My brain just did not want to try to comprehend that at this moment. But what happened?
Well, first of all, I'm going to make just the astute Captain Obvious assumption here. We had a lot of walks that we issued to not as many strikeouts. Let's see. Chase Mobley in his 2 innings of work issued 9 free passes to 0 strikeouts.
He didn't even give up a hit, but 4 runs were earned against him because he walked 9 guys.
Angel Perez, 4 walks, 1 K. Miguel Flores, 6 walks, 2 Ks. Ryan DeSanto, 5 walks, 2 Ks. Let's see. Oki, 7 and 3. Let's see. Gia Leonelli with 5 walks, 4 strikeouts. So he was all right. But then you saw, like you said, Keljo, he had a pretty decent outing. 3 walks, 7 strikeouts in 4 innings. Javi Torres in his 4 2/3, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. Luke Fernandez, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and he went 5 innings. Yeah, he gave up 4 earned runs, but I think you start with the premise that if you have better command, and you shouldn't be, if you have the command, that means that you're ultimately going to be pitching better because you shouldn't be issuing this many walks. And if you're not, if you've got the command as well, you're spotting pitches where you want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take advantage of your scouting report on the hitters. And it appears they were nowhere near that. It appears these guys were they had a bad week. They had a very, very bad week. Ball 4, ball 8, and he's walked, the bases loaded. How can they lay off pitches this close?
Well, that's going to be the big thing. Now, the other thing, and this happens every year with single-A baseball specifically, this roster is going to look completely different because after the draft, there are going to be guys on this roster that just get sent away, say bye-bye, go. we don't want you to play baseball for us anymore. We got to make room for some of our draft picks that are going to be coming in. And this roster is going to look completely different. They also are under a first-year manager. And they are moving on from what I thought was the best manager in the Carolina League last year, in Jordan Smith. He obviously, I think, went to high A in the Brewers organization. I could be wrong on that. Maybe just single A. Regardless, this is a Hill City Howlers team that's going to look very, very different. And I think it's just got to continue to find that rhythm. Really, that's all that is. So we'll see what happens with Hill City. Well, there's your recap of the affiliates, and we already hit on the big talking point here, which was the likes of what you do with Cooper Ingle, and that, hey, if he's good enough, you find a spot for him. I mean, really, it just is that simple. But let's talk a little guard ball. I think what we all envisioned happening after we heard about the injuries kind of happened. You only win 2 games. This is a road trip, but a very important series coming up here against the White Sox. Then you get an off day, and you get a home series against the Mariners, who have started to figure it out more often than not as of late. They're still not humming yet, but they've figured it out more often than not. So, I mean, what say you on the status of things in Cleveland? It's tough right now because I don't feel like I can have much of an expectation. As long as they tread water, I think then we're good because things get way easier after the All-Star break.
In theory, but I think even to lose the guys we lost, Martinez, DeLauder, and Ramirez, is a kick in the package, right?
Mm-hmm.
All at the same time. Even when they're back in the lineup, I feel like, he's likely to turn things around. He was definitely getting into a better rhythm as of late. He certainly seemed a little bit better. Chase DeLauder was having, I'd say, his rookie ups and downs. Angel Martinez was really doing a nice job. I was kind of impressed, very impressed with him. But I still don't know that even when you get those guys back in the lineup that you can feel extremely confident. I love what I'm seeing, seeing Travis Bazzana. It's been very good.
Saturday.
Yeah. And then was that Saturday that he was?
It was Saturday where he was.
And he had a jack in the game in the win at Milwaukee. He had a jack as well.
True.
So that's impressive. That's impressive. I was, that's not something I was counting on per se. The pitching, as mentioned before, the bullpen is thin. I want to send Matt Festa to the moon. as
Every
well as
day.
Sean Armstrong. Those guys can please kindly see the exit. Can we please bring up some other help, or when is some other help going to?
Please.
Yeah, I agreed. Getting Sobrowski back will help. As you mentioned, Alamon, and
see if Andrew Walters ever figures his stuff out.
That would be helpful. And now what's the deal? So now we saw what? Cal Steffen?
Yeah.
Another
talk about
season-ending surgery?
Yeah, so had some injury stuff already coming over from the trade last year. I forget exactly what it was, but it kept him out. Basically, he only pitched like 1 or 2 games for Akron last year. And now this year had looked good in some moments, had looked okay in others. Didn't really feel like he was ready to take that next step to Columbus at any point. But now we're never going to know if he takes that leap this year because he's got Tommy John. And I had kind of seriously, kind of jokingly, however you want to take this, you take it. Wow, we got a guy that's just as injury prone as Shane Bieber as his replacement. So we really just got Shane Bieber again without the Cy Young candidacy at this current point in his career.
Right. Because it felt like, I mean, I didn't see Shane Bieber as an injury dude. I didn't think about it, obviously, till the very end of his time in Cleveland. He gave us excellent years of performance at the big league level. This is just difficult. We need more reinforcements in the bullpen to hold that down. It's going to take pitching. Pitching is going to have to be our strength. We know that. This is not going to be your mid-90s MASH unit of a lineup. I don't know when the last time was that we had a lineup that anybody feared in any way, shape, or form. This lineup is pitiful, to be quite frank. I'm just
with the injuries it is. Without the injuries, at least you have Jose Ramirez, and you probably can't walk him because you have Chase DeLauder behind him. You have or you have Travis Bazzana in front of him. I mean,
yeah, it's not good. And if there is a way to inject a hitter into this lineup, they desperately need to do it. I don't know what they did to Stephen. We've discussed this ad nauseum. I don't know what they did to Stephen Kwan.
Well, sir, you had some interesting audio that you had to listen to from Mr. Albert Bell. Why don't we play some of that?
Yeah, let me play a little bit. I'll try and do this. So first of all, this morning, Albert Bell appeared on the Really Big Show on ESPN Cleveland with Tony Rizzo, Aaron Goldhammer, Chris Oldak on the call. So they called up Albert Bell. And first of all, he's talking about, injuries and the difference between today's ball players. And I think this fits into some stuff we've talked about too with their preparedness. So let me see if this works here, and hopefully it does.
I play every day in spring training, which is only 30 games. So if you don't want to play 30 games in spring training, you're surely not going to be ready to play 162. But I get it. I mean, even if you play 130, 140 games, that to be sufficient. But these guys, like every little nagging pain or discomfort, now that's the word for this year, they're ready to just sit out and become cheerleaders. And I just, there's probably a lot more injuries because I look at MLB Network to look at the injuries. There's a lot I haven't even told you guys. And they gave out this 9-year contract to Connor Griffin from the Pirates, their young phenom. I think he played about 2 weeks and they gave him a 9-year deal. And then I think he probably played about another 2 or 3 weeks. And now he has a forearm strain. And I'm like, okay, like, how did you do that? Like, I don't even know how to strain my forearm. It's like they're coming up with these injuries that we've never even heard of before. And I had to go look up some of this stuff. I was like, oh, I didn't know that's what that muscle was called. So it's kind of sad that that's the way the game has become, but that's what you have allowed. And, these guys have all this state-of-the-art stuff, and they don't know how to use this equipment correctly to help them with baseball. And then I watch these guys warm up before the game, and they're like doing this unrelated baseball, I guess it's plyometrics, and they're like doing it just like 5 yards. I'm like, wow, okay. you're gonna run more than 5 yards in the game. But that's what has been allowed to happen in the game, and I think it's funny because basically every day when you wake up, you're probably gonna get a text from me because somebody got injured again, and there's this new injury that we've never heard about.
Yeah, I mean, what did you think? He talks about their preparation and how they're doing things. It seems like, I know it's a very much this seems like an old school mentality, but obviously he was sort of an Iron Man, or came from a day and age and time when guys, they were used to playing every day, right?
Yeah, well, again, this is the problem with baseball, right? You have a really, really long season of where we're going to play some other audio in a second, talking about some expectations they have put on a certain player. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's weird, and baseball is the sport. Baseball is the sport that you obviously have to injury manage more than anything else. You have to injury manage in every single sport. But over 162 games, it's tough, dude. Like, when you have the injuries that Cleveland has had, it's really tough. And then to count on the guys in your prospect farm, like, this is why I say I feel like I should have no expectation right now, because you can't rely on the guys that are supposed to be playing in Columbus come up and perform great for the big league club. It's just not a realistic expectation. What else do you got?
Okay, so just a moment here. He was starting to talk about, and I want to just set this up right. He was talking about hitting today. And he was talking about our lineup. So we'll go through this here. And I apologize, didn't have this all fully, haven't listened to the entirety of the clip, but let's go with it, and we'll pause as we need to do it, because it is very interesting coming from a person such as Albert Belle.
Well, first of all, you're being overloaded with too much information about hitting. Second of all, you have a lot of people with no major league experience trying to teach hitting at the big league level. And third of all, like, everybody has given up on just being able to hit a line drive base hit. And they're worried about this exit velocity. I don't know why that's an issue. Why, somebody has to, hit a 450-foot home run for everybody to get excited. But when you look at the teams that win, like the Brewers, they put the ball in play, they make contact, they'll hit a few home runs if you make a mistake on them, but they know how to execute all the situations, and that's pretty much it. So some teams are kind of going back to it, but I look at, some of these other teams and players, and like Stephen Kwan. I watch him, and he's hitting, he was, leading off. Now he's hitting seventh, and he's doing the same thing over and over and over. And I'm just like, when is he going to make an adjustment? Like, when? Like, now he's getting pinch hit for. Sometimes they play him at center field. You pretty much have killed his confidence, and he's probably, not going to recover. And I'm just like, when is he going to make an adjustment? And that's the thing. And that's probably why I don't want to get back involved in baseball, because I'll probably be in his face like, bro, like, it's not working. You have to make an adjustment. This is what you have to do. They're trying to tell Kwan he needs to hit home runs. And I'm like, for what? If he hits 20 home runs, what does that mean? You're going to win 20 more games? Probably not. But if he...
I mean... I stopped it there. Again, this is all from courtesy of ESPN Cleveland. Really big show. Tony Rizzo, Aaron Goldhammer, Chris Oldak this morning. I mean, he's speaking some truth there. It's kind of funny, Nate, because we had discussions maybe at the very beginning of the season, kind of talking about, I don't remember if it was Bo Naylor or who it was. And like, when you looked at the statistics and basically just getting bad luck. You're hitting the ball and the fielder it just happens to be right where the ball is hit. And it sounds to me like Albert Bell is old. I'm old like him, I guess, where it's a matter of like, why are we worried? You got to hit the ball. You need to put it in play, so on and so forth. We've got too many statistics, and, we're going to be analytical champions again.
Well, again, analytically, the Cavs have won the NBA Finals. So look, I love the analytics of baseball because I love looking at spin rate and how often a pitcher throws that. Especially in the guessing game of baseball, you kind of have to know that.
I do like. Know that. That makes sense to me, though. That makes sense because that's actually, and I won't even call that. I would call that scouting. That's scouting. That's knowing what a guy likes to throw at a certain time. At a certain time of a game, certain pitch counts, you know what the person is going to throw. That's what that is. It's not. I mean, I understand. Like, obviously,
right? Okay, so let's take the Stephen Kwan thing to its fullest, right? You're asking a guy to, and look, we've seen this trend before. I think we talked about it with Stephen Kwan 2 or 3 years ago. Not on this show specifically, but just in the fan base in general. Wow, he gets on base. That's really good. If we could tweak this thing, he'd hit a couple more homers. Has not been the case, friends. Has not been the case at all.
Except for like one part of one season with the home run vortex.
Yes.
In right field. That was it. That was about the only time that he was really hitting for a little while there, hitting jacks. He would come up and boom. All right, there you go, Kwani, out to right field. But that's not his game. His game is having a good eye at the plate, running up the pitch count, whether you get on base via walk, or just a base hit, a slap single, a line drive, whatever it is. And we talked about his bat speed is so slow. Is that a mental thing? Does he not know what's coming? Is he not seeing the ball well? That would be my thought is, okay, I'm not seeing it well, so I'm swinging hesitantly and late. I'm not going to get any if you're doing that, you're not going to get much power on it. It's going to be a lot of weak stuff, and it's just not good. And I don't know what you do with him. We missed that initial or that window last year where we probably had him at his highest value to trade him. So now we're a little bit between a rock and a hard place. One, you could say, and I know this is a little bit outside of that, but going forward, you could probably sign him for less, but you also can't really trade him for much because he looks abysmal at the plate and really it seems like he's got a lead weight on his shoulders. And maybe I don't know what's going on. We still don't know if there was something, if there was stuff going on behind the scenes. He had family issues. He took a little bit of time off earlier this season. It wasn't for very long, but nevertheless, it's a really tough position, and you needed him to be the guy that gets things started on a regular basis because you start to set the table. You get the leadoff guy on. He makes the pitcher nervous. You're starting to steal a base. The pitcher's not paying a close enough attention, and they throw a meatball down the middle of the plate. And you're talking Jose Ramirez hitting a dong. So it's really troubling what's happened. And we also noticed how at the end of season, Stephen Kwan seems to wear out. And does that have to do with conditioning? And it kind of goes back to Albert's talking about with like, what are you doing? You're doing this plyometrics and this, and you're not. How is that preparing you? I feel like it seems like for as much information as we've almost kind of gone too far in the opposite direction and to use all of that and maybe need to go a little bit more back to the basics. There's a fine line is what I know. I say that probably far too often, but it really is the truth. There's something in the down the middle. You don't have to go to one extreme or the other. You got to find just the right mixture of it. I do like, we know that the front office is very good for the Guardians, even with their limited resources. And so hopefully they will make some prudent moves of some kind to help improve this ball club. But it's anyone's guess what they're going to do. Anyone's guess.
Here's the thought. Here's an idea. Take what a player's good at and focus on it. Make that better. Is a guy good at getting on base? Okay, let's do that. Like, we talk about let's use the football terminology, right? We talk about the system quarterback, where guys enter a college system, a pro system, whatever it may be, literally whatever it may be, and they look great and they look really freaking good. Well, then they get to the next level, or they change teams, they get traded, they transfer, whatever happens, and the expectation's still there, and then they fall off the cliff. Well, they're just not built for what their head coach is trying to do. It's like, it was kind of like Jalen Milroe at Bama.
Yep.
Even though Jalen Milroe can be a pretty good quarterback, he was in the Kalen DeBoer system. That's the first dual threat quarterback Kalen DeBoer had coached in his life, and it showed. He was not used to his full potential, and that's why Alabama did not have as successful a season that year, among other factors and stuff in there as well. Jalen Milroe still a very good player that year, but like that's stuff like that. Do not try to turn Stephen Kwan into this bona fide slug stick, this known power hitter, as we all like to joke. Just let him go up there. Let him be patient at the plate. Let him use the challenges smartly, and let him freaking swing away and get some base hits, draw some walks, steal a base or two. He's capable of that.
Yeah, I that absolutely. They've got to do that. Get back to some basics, as you said. Play to your players' strengths, and instead of trying to fit that square peg into a round hole. And I don't know where it is in the interview with Albert Bell. He was joking about the challenge system, and he said, "I don't think it." He said, "Unless you're hitting 300, you shouldn't be allowed to use the challenge system." Right? And he, you know what though? He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No, not at all.
Our guys have no idea what the strike zone is, and they're out there wasting challenges. And as we've discussed, that's an absolute. It's so frustrating and angering when you get.
My strategy with the challenges is don't, unless the situation calls for it, don't use them before the 7th inning.
I agree. I mean, there are going to be times it's a critical situation early in a game, bases loaded, and it's the difference between scoring a run and the inning ending. Okay, all right, I kind of get it, but these other times it's asinine. I can't believe they're doing it, but
it's so bad.
It is, but you know what? We'll get used to it, and eventually we'll just have all of the balls and strikes called by a automated system, and then we won't have to worry about challenges. See, fix the problem right there, right?
That very well may be what it comes down to, other than the fact that how do you keep the human element behind home plate?
Because they stand there, and I think they have to. I mean, they've still got to tell. They've got to. When it gets called, they have to, in their ear, they have to signal it, and they have to hold up a thing. And there's still people checking the swings. There's still people looking to see if it's a hit batter.
That would be like you as a high school janitor having someone on an earpiece telling you, okay, this is exactly how you're going to clean this toilet. Okay, this is exactly how you're going to organize this classroom. Like, I don't want that. Just let me do my job, man.
Hey, wait, listen.
I would rather stand there and call if you're going to have that.
Take this, Nate. I'm just going to throw this out there, and I don't want to get into a long, thing here, but
oh no,
how much? If you're getting paid enough money to stand there and do less work for the same amount of money, fine. You want me to do less work and get paid the same amount? Fine, great, thank you. Thank you for taking something off of my plate. One less thing for people to yell at me about and criticize me for, and the kids, mom in the stands and dad in the stands who think they know better than me, yelling at me. I can do not. I didn't do it. I did it.
And then this is the last point that I'll make on that too. You're going to have the weird dichotomy where it's going to be, well, I'm glad people aren't yelling at me anymore, but I've worked so hard to get here. How could I? Blah, blah, blah.
That would be hilarious. That would be.
That's exactly what they're going to say. Exactly what they're going to say. So
well, I do think it has been I like the way it's worked so far throughout this season. It seems like it is helpful, and it should help umpires. I haven't looked at the stats lately to see how accurate they are relative to the pitches
know
that
what?
are or aren't
Let's go
challenged.
look at an umpire scorecard, shall we?
Yeah, if you've got the place to go, please direct the fans, because I think that they
umpire scorecards on Twitter, Instagram, do all of it. It's all great. So let's look at this Red Sox Mariners game from the other day. A 3-1 win for Seattle. Home plate umpire Adrian Johnson got in total 5 calls wrong. Five calls wrong. 3 of them were challenged.
Okay, that's pretty impressive, because how many pitches are there? Like 180 to 200?
Yeah.
That's impressive. And
so there's that one.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, Nate, and this is my naivety and really not even thinking about it. When they talk about the strike zone, okay, I'm always like, okay, doesn't the ball have to be completely in it? No, it just has to brush it. So we're talking this thin of a margin.
And to me, that is where I would get the robot's input on it. Like, to me, there is nothing wrong. To me, you cannot take away the human element behind the plate. However, I do think what you can do is you can have the umpire say, fellas, I tell you what, I got no idea. Let's go to the monitor.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Except if they want to lose a few man points, I guess. But
I suppose so. It's one of those things where when they're showing the graphic and it's literally the seam of the baseball touched the strike zone, and such,
and the umpire's supposed to be there like, oh yeah, the seam grazed it by a quarter of an inch. Yep, totally should have seen that. My bad.
Or they call a strike and you're like, what? How was that a strike? And then you see the thing and you're like, well, son of a gun. I guess it was. I'm happy with it.
Or they call it a strike and you're like, yes, it is a credit card away from the plate. You know what? My bad.
Yeah. I'd rather of them be right. I'd rather get the call correct.
Here's more, by the way.
Okay.
Dylan Wilson in Sunday's Phillies-Mets game, a 6-2 win for the Phils. He also missed 5 calls, 97% accuracy, had 3 challenges. Only one of them was overturned.
That's a fantastic day right there.
Only one of them was overturned. Here's another one. Derek Thomas, 95% accuracy. 3 challenged pitches, none of them were overturned. However, did miss some pretty egregious strikes or pretty egregious balls that he called strikes very, very high.
And therein lies my problem. There it is. Nate, you've just hit the nail on the head. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'll just show the camera right now. Those red dots up high, he called strikes.
Right. The egregious misses is where I want to rip my hair out. And I'm having nightmares and flashbacks of the 95 World Series and watching Greg Maddux get every known call to man, because the umpires decide what their strike zone is on a inning by inning, pitch by pitch basis, and it's the most absurd thing ever. How can you possibly go up there as a hitter when the strike zone changes from game to game, from person to person, and which umpire, and this, that, and the other? Give me an effing break. Call the strike zone. Don't do this BS. And then you get screwed because you used your challenges. Hence, you don't need any challenges. It should all be automated. All automated. Let's get it right. I don't care about, sorry, Nate, I don't give a flying rat's ass about the human element. Get the calls right. Get the calls right.
It's part of the strategy. It's what makes it interesting. You have to.
It sure does. It sure does. For real.
But I also totally am on your same page. Like, to me, I just think it's very difficult to take the human element out of the game when you've had it in the game for so long. Because to me, you can't have a robot call a basketball game. You can't have a robot call a football game. But they've been strategic about where they've implemented it. So they've had the strategic implementation of putting the challenge system into the NBA. They've had the strategic system of putting the out of bounds lines into tennis and volleyball, and in football now you have the chip in the ball.
Stuff. Yep, they already did, and they're gonna do more, which is fantastic.
Well, they're gonna start implementing it in the regular season. I would hope. It was a preseason thing last year.
Oh, that's right. I thought they also did.
Remember, like
Yeah,
chipping the
first
ball if
down?
it was close enough. Yeah.
That was only I forgot. I thought
That was only
in the
preseason.
regular. I thought it was in the regular season too, but I
It
guess
might be, and I'm just forgetting because if it was not used much. If at all.
yeah, I don't remember. I could be wrong. That was a long time
This is
ago.
where
That
Mike
was
from
many,
the
that was
UK would
about,
come in handy. Haven't seen him today.
who's that?
Mike from
Mike?
the UK.
He probably didn't know we were on, and I didn't.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
He's watching the World Cup. He's very focused on that. Which
So have I, though. I've been very focused on the World Cup, which, by the way, did that French game. Oh, they're finishing it right now, and France is up 3-0 on Iraq. Mbappe twice, Dembele once. Are we surprised? No.
No.
Not
That's
at all.
fantastic. This has been amazing. Been enjoying that for sure. I am excited.
I am excited.
I don't speak much very good English, but I am excited.
And he should be. Japan's been looking pretty good.
Absolutely.
Japan's
No.
been looking pretty good. So
Good
is France. So is Argentina. So have the Stars and Stripes. Not been looking too bad.
Yeah,
The
they're all
Mexicans,
right.
they look great. They look great. Spaniards, nice bounce back for them the other day. The Germans, they look fairly solid.
I hear you.
Been go World Cup. And the Norwegians. Was it Holland again? Oh, it was not Holland this time. But they're up 1-0 on Senegal. Look at the Norwegians go.
Yep, they're rowing their way to they're trying to row their way to a win. I'm telling you what, you talk about creativity. That's creative.
You know what? Can I befriend everyone from the Scandinavian area? Like, I'm talking Scotland, Norway, Sweden. If only Finland were here. I know Scotland's not technically Scandinavian,
Yeah,
but they're close-ish to that area.
Oh, that's what all me sea print. Hey, oh Willie, too.
Scotland's like my European geography needs work. Are they in northern UK or are they in the little island? Oh no, never mind.
Hey, the Scots fighting the Scots. Hey, wee laddie.
Yeah, no, I was right. Northern UK.
Okay, yeah, you're right. There you go. But yeah, you got you on me cock. Oh, sorry, that's Family Guy. That's my
See,
bad.
they're close enough. I still am befuddled that Denmark is not here.
I don't know.
Denmark.
Those
not
are the
there.
marks that you have.
Well, it was a downpour in Philly today, so they're probably getting that one over with. And they have another game in Philly, actually. Aren't Jordan and Algeria supposed to play there or something? Oh, no, Santa Clara. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it'll be interesting. I guess we'll be getting back to that, because the Gardos are down 2-0 after 3 innings. And,
Not as bad, but Gavin, let's hope that that's all he holds them to. So
that would be nice. How about we give him some support? But we'll see. Long way to
all
go.
right. I am ready to get out of here. So, Ethan, where can the people find you at very briefly?
Check me out at eGreen4325. You can catch episodes of Going Nuclear when we're doing the Lorraine County Leviathan FC podcast during Crunch season. Let's Go Crunch, so on and so forth. Just follow me on social media on Twitter at eGreen4325 for all of that information. Thank you all as well for letting me be a part of this as well.
For me, at Tailgate829, Twitter, Instagram, wherever else you like to peruse the socials. College football, we're going to get back into that on YouTube and do a lot of local sports stuff here around Logan and Champaign County in the great state of Ohio. Also follow the pod. Also follow Baseball Banter Broadcast. Thank you to Jeremy Laraquente for giving us the opportunity and for letting us do our thing here on the show. Also for Taven McCauley at Stark Sports Coverage. And to all the fathers, happy belated Father's Day. Ethan, I hope you had a good Father's Day. I know I
did. Thank you.
I hope Taven's family did as well. And all of you, to the 20 plus that joined in to this little impromptu show. Second half, we'll get more regulated. We'll get more things. New graphics are on their way next week too, by the way. So,
All right.
Well, since Taven's normally the one that gets us out of here, I guess that duty falls on me today. So thank you to all of you for tuning in. We'll be back next Sunday, Monday. Stay tuned into the Twitter. We'll let you know when future shows are. Have a good week, everybody. Go Guards, White Sox, Mariners, and the affiliates. Oh, we got to tell you what the affiliates have. We almost missed that. Okay. Running down the list here really fast, we go from bottom up. So starting with the Hill City Howlers, 6 games in Hickory against the Crawdads this week, the single-A affiliate of the Texas Rangers. Nelson Keljo be on the bump for the opener on Tuesday. Lake County, they'll look to push for the second half championship. They are at home for 6 games against the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. Fort Wayne Tin Caps, that is who they will be in a series with this week. For the Akron Rubber Duckies, told you they had a tough series this week. They go to Richmond. It's Flying Squirrel Week in the great state of Virginia. So we'll see if the potential second half champs in Akron can dethrone the first half champs in Richmond. Sometimes you see teams fall off, sometimes you don't. So we'll see what the case is with Richmond. And then for the Columbus Clippers, in my old stomping grounds, they will be taking on the Omaha Storm Chasers. 6 games in Omaha for the affiliates of the Royals. Until next time, everybody, Nate Bope, Ethan Greenberg, and Taven McCauley watching from New York City. We'll see all you next time. Goodbye.